I'm 20 years old, just starting online college, and trying to keep safe during the pandemic. With everything going on in the world, I'm just trying to lay low, save up money, and pursue school and get a good degree. So right now, I'm living with mom and dad on their large ranch out here in Montana, where they have tons and tons of horses. But that's not what my story is about. I've been a huge listener of your show for quite some time, and in the past 6 months, I too have my own fair share of craziness going on. I never thought in my wildest dreams I would be dealing with anything remotely like what you talk about in your stories, but somehow I seem to be stuck in this situation that I can't find my way out of. Even my parents can't deny what's going on. Everything is centered around our horses. We have horses of our own, but there are also plenty of wild horses in this area that we live in. And that's what I believe everything is centered around. All the horses in general. So, let me break it to you. We have, from what I've seen and my understanding, is a small clan or village or a group of people. I don't know what you want to call them, but there is a small family of Bigfoot that live in this area. I've seen them many times. They've tried to sneak up on our property before, steal our chickens, and just nosy around. They generally mean no harm, but they have a weird, particular liking to our horses. One that almost makes me nervous because if they get too close, I'm worried they're going to try and harm one of our horses. Who knows what they've done to any wild horses they come across. Next, we also have what I believe to be a group of Dogmen living in the area as well. I've seen them roaming in the tree lines, large upright canines. And trust me, these aren't werewolves. I don't believe in that kind of Halloween fairy tale nonsense, where somebody transforms under a full moon. These fit every description of your encounters, as well as Vic Hundiff's. I've been a huge listener of both shows for a while now, and I've heard enough stories to be able to accurately depict what a Dogman actually is. There's no doubt in my mind that's exactly what I'm dealing with. Now, here's where it becomes fun. And I put fun in quotations because, well, it's not exactly fun as you would expect. Some of our horses have recently gone missing, since summertime actually, and we believe there is a war going on between these Dogmen and Bigfoot. Maybe not a war in the traditional sense of shields, armor, and swords, but a war of races and beasts. I don't know if they're trying to claim the horses or the territory or what, but it seems like ever since these Dogmen have moved into the area, it's been all-out bloodshed. My father has found several dead wild horses, torn in pieces. Not torn to pieces, but just torn up. Legs ripped off, head dismembered, slightly eaten on. I'm not exactly sure which species is to blame for that, but sometimes at night, we'll also hear bizarre screaming and roaring. It kind of sounds like two large apes going at it. Not in that way, but I mean over a female or fighting aggressively. Sometimes I'll hear howling over to the east in the valley near us. Then, to the left, in the opposite direction over in the west, I'll hear loud growling and whooping noises. I don't know if these two species are fighting or what's going on, but it's kind of frightening to be honest. And this has been going long enough for my mom and dad to actually see it for themselves. They can't deny it. I can't deny it. We all know all these species exist, and we don't really tell anybody because we don't want people to think we're crazy. Sure, come onto our property and see a Bigfoot and a living werewolf all in one. Yeah, we would probably be sent to jail for being complete loons. And while I haven't actually seen the horrors of what's to be played out, my father has seen something horrific. Something that confirms my understanding that these two species of creatures or beings are at war. He was out, probably about 1.5 miles away from here, close to the valley where there is a sharp ravine, and told me he spotted what he calls a Bigfoot, or what we know as a Bigfoot. It was making its way up the hillside, but appeared to be running as if from something. And that's when out of view, my father describes this large incredibly large canine jumped out of nowhere onto this large primate's back and literally tore the back of this thing open. He could visibly see blood from the direction that he was looking. This thing turned around, grabbed this canine, this upright canine, grabbed its neck and its lower back, and partially broke its spine and threw it down the hillside. He could tell it was severely injured because it was bleeding profusely and had a hard limp as it walked back towards the tree line in which it was going to. All the while, he described the noises and sounds of this ensuing battle as completely horrific, like if you took a Tyrannosaurus from Jurassic Park, a lion, a gazelle, a rhinoceros, a hippo, and had them all make a flurry of horrible animal noises. I know it's not the best description, but that's what he described it to me as. He said it was kind of traumatizing to watch. He had never in his life seen anything like it. That, again, just further validated what I know, and while my parents aren't exactly believers in cryptids, they can't deny that this stuff is happening. My father, too, also said that he has heard other noises like that, like a bunch of animals fighting, in other areas off the ranch, far off, beyond being able to see fully. Now, the real story comes down to, are they contesting for the territory? Are they contesting for the animals and horses? Or, the most scariest part, are they contesting for us? Even though both species have never bothered either of us, have made an attempt to be hostile towards us, or even come up to our house. Just them being in the area makes me kind of nervous. You know, before, like I said, the Bigfoot have attempted to steal our chickens, and have even peeked through our windows, even though I haven't seen it, but my mother has, and nearly scared her half to death. I have a feeling that they've been in this area longer than my family has, and they're probably just more curious and trying to survive. But something about these Dogmen having moved into the area, for what reason I'm not sure, probably due to food. I can't say much about the deer population, but as I stated previously, there is a huge population of wild horses all around here, and I think that brings sufficient food for both species to survive on. To what degree and what extent, I'm not sure, but it must be somewhat significant for their species to be warring together. As I'm writing this to you, December 8th, 2020, this is still going on, with activity as close as the other night, when we both outside heard sounds of a screaming, roaring battle. At least that's what it sounded like, in the same valley that my father saw the gruesome scene back in July. This valley is only a few miles northeast of our house, and is a rather large valley that my father has hunted bucks in before, and gotten many good kills in. But since all this is going on, I think my father just altogether skipped hunting season. Like I said about the deer population, I don't know how good they are, but I do know from my father that bucks like to come through the area from the east, and maybe since the fall, he hasn't really seen any of them, and normally, he sees about 5 or 6 good 4 or 5 pointers come through. Maybe the Dogmen are getting these bucks. Maybe the Sasquatch are hunting them. We're not entirely sure, but what we do know is we try to stay as safe as possible and mind our own business, and not wander off into territory that we know is clearly not ours. Because I believe, sooner or later, something will happen to us if we act up. I feel somewhat responsible for my family's safety. I know I'm 20, and have a good amount of money saved up, even building up my credit. I can definitely get a place out closer to town, but I just feel like I'm leaving my parents vulnerable. Not that they couldn't handle the situation or take care of it, but I want to take care of my parents and help them out. So I figured, laying low here, pursuing online school, is probably my best option. And with the pandemic going on, it gives me more of an excuse to lay low and help inform my parents and make sure they stay safe. Because, well, I know they're both very smart, especially when it comes to ranching and outdoor stuff. I just can't help but worry for their safety, especially for my father, who can be very bull-headed sometimes, and can easily wander into areas that I would think would be lively with either Dogman or Bigfoot. Even that day back in July that he saw the Bigfoot and Dogman fighting. I'm pretty sure that was because he had wandered too far, and I hope that he wasn't marked at all by either of them, or that either of them saw him and have it out for him, which I don't think so. I mean, not that he wandered too far. He knows his way well around the woods. I just mean, to them, that he wandered too far into their territory, which is potentially why they are fighting over it. But all this is speculation. I don't really know. I'm going to go ahead and cut this email short, because I feel like it's getting a little too long. So, all I ask is that you wish me luck, and hope that me and my family can survive, however long this is going to last. From what little research I've done, and what I've heard from other people having similar experiences like I'm in, is that the Bigfoot or Dogman eventually give up and leave the area. And I would really prefer that the Bigfoot are the ones that don't leave, considering they're not the ones who are overly aggressive and trying to kill other species in the area. Wish us luck.